Born to be King is a refreshingly different and unique take on fantasy, albeit a bit rough around the edges at points. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Born to be King, the first book in the Epic of Kautila, which I'm probably mispronouncing, by Deepak Thomas. And this one is one that, this is a review copy that I was sent, and I've been curious to get to it for a while because of the fact that it is specifically based around like South Asian Indian mythos, and apparently from looking at some information on the book, it's like really deeply rooted in some of the mythos and things that come from there. And so that's not a topic that I've really read a whole lot about, and I always like switching it up. And despite the fact that I do love my classic Eurocentric type of fantasy, it's really nice to just do other things. And so that was kind of the first thing here. It was really refreshing with seeing something totally different. It was setting up something that's not your standard kind of lore with the book, and also the character we're following is a little bit different as well, because we're following Kautila, who is the only daughter of the current king, and secretly her father, the king, thinks that she might really be the one who should succeed him, even though that's not the normal kind of thing. So I liked that setup right off the bat, and this book is one that did pull me in very quickly in the beginning. Is we have that sort of setup. It's not doing the thing where it's like, oh, nobody wants her, and she has to do it. No, it's like her father really believes in her, and the kind of what starts the novel is he sends her along with her brothers to be trained essentially under a guru to learn how to fight and to strategy and lead and all that kind of stuff. So that's really not the norm. Normally she would not have been sent, and so she's sent to it. And the parts there too, because if you hear that and you're like, oh gosh, no, so it's like a school setting, it didn't really feel like a school setting. The closest it got is kind of like the way Bloodsong technically has a sort of battle school, but it just doesn't feel so much like a school setting. It was more that direction for me, and so I didn't mind it whatsoever, and I still really enjoyed the beginning. And then I also really did enjoy the ending. I thought there was a lot of good stuff that happened with the end, with the way that things came together, and some of the stuff was you could kind of see coming, but it was done in a really satisfying way. But honestly, for me, weirdly enough, the middle is where this one kind of dipped in places for me. I think that, like I said, it comes down to being a little bit rough around the edges. Here, this is, I'm not sure if this author has written other things before this. I think this might have been a debut. But it feels like this is somebody who's still kind of figuring some things out. And there are some times where like the language choices made just sounds a little bit off, like it doesn't quite fit. I'm not sure if English is not the first language of this person, because everything's written very correctly, but it's just some of those things where sometimes it feels like I don't feel like that's the way somebody would phrase that. Although for the most part, that didn't actually really bother me because of the fact that the setting, people talking a little bit differently than what I think they should, it's fine. But there were a couple lines like somebody says like, give me the info, and I'm like, okay, that we probably shouldn't have. So little things like that kind of pulled me just out a little bit. And I did feel that while a lot of what was happening with the plot was interesting, there were times where things felt just a little bit too streamlined for me. I know that's one of those things that often is a me complaint, and other people think the books that I like that are a lot slower should be more streamlined, but sometimes things just move very quickly, and so it made some of the events happening as well as the characters, these important parts in their arcs, just feel a little bit shallow to me at points. So it was something that where it didn't, it still, I was pulled in right away. I enjoyed the ending, but it didn't fully keep me engaged 100% of the time, because I did feel like some points in the middle, my enjoyment waned a little bit here. This, though, was just incredibly quick reading and very effortless to get through, and so I still had a good time with this, even though it ultimately is not something that was crazy for me, but it was just kind of nice as something different, really seeing different mythos. If you like exploring different kinds of mythos, especially I think if you're familiar with the kind of legends and mythos that this is based on, I think it'd be interesting. I was looking at a lot of reviews, and there were a lot of people talking specifically about that. So it sounds like it really does hit well. But once again, it's not an area I super know super familiar, so I can't really comment on how accurate any of the portrayals were. Just that I overall still enjoyed this and had a good time with it, and I'll be curious to see what more is going to be happening here. So those really are my thoughts on Born to be King by Deepak Thomas, the first book in the Epic of Cautila. Let me know if you have heard of this one, or just if you have other books that you have read that dive into different sets of mythos or have like different settings or kind of different basis there. Because I know there are some big ones that I've definitely heard of, but I'm always interested to see what people are doing that's different, because it's really nice to just have something, a nice change. It's very refreshing to do that every now and then. So that's it for this one, though. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description, as always, for my Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizardly Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.